Take a look at the preview of the first episode of the Cherch Time Podcast.
I didn't just come up with this quickly. This took time, lots of time, and lots of research. One outraged, threatening parent. They took the presentation, which I already shared the audio previously, so you can go back through the Harrison Community Schools Parents Resource Group and listen to that audio if you'd like to, from the board meetings. I have them all. They're all posted already. You can hear the exact language that I use, the exact tone of voice, the exact words that I use. And right here, all you have are snips and clips from little pieces of the quotes from the whole statement that I made at that board meeting. Not one thing was threatening in there. Not one. There was not one threat made. I didn't even raise my voice. I just went there, made a statement, answered a couple of the board members' questions, and I left. You have to learn what your rights are. You can't just go in there flying half-cocked, say that things are going to get done my way. That's how they're trying to tell you the way I operate. It's not true. They're trying to present me to the public as somebody who is a threat. The newspapers are even in on it. There's no way that this threatening shit is going to stick with me. It's not going to happen. It's a lie. Of course they're going to write articles that are in favor of the school. Not me. I don't have a college education. A little bit, but it has nothing to do with running a fucking school. I'm not a doctor. I'm just a father. Taking care of my kids in a blended family with multiple different mothers. Yeah, I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you the truth. Which is more than they're going to give you. And I'm broke. I drive a minivan. I'm a real threat to you guys. Watch out for the fucking minivan guy. They're threatened because of the information that I'm bringing to you. Because the information that I'm bringing to you is going to be damaging to them, especially when we get into staff misconduct. Legal Code, Section 380.10. Rights of parents and legal guardians. Duties of public schools. It is the natural, fundamental right of parents and legal guardians to determine and direct the care, teaching, and education of the children. The public schools of this state serve the needs of the pupils by cooperating with the pupils' parents and legal guardians to develop the pupils' intellectual capabilities and vocational skills in a safe and positive environment. That's the law right there. That law states that it is your right as a parent or legal guardian to determine and direct the care, teaching, and education of the children. That is the law. A principal at a local public middle school has the nerve to look me in the eye and tell me that she has authority above me when it comes to my children? She's there as an administrator over the school. She's not a law enforcement investigator. She doesn't have an investigative background that makes her qualified to do this, especially to your children. She's not a mental health professional. She's got no legal authority to tell anybody, especially not me, that she's going to come in and usurp authority and say that the way that we agreed things are going to be done are no longer going to be that way because this is my school. There's two incidences where the school administrators have the authority to immediately act and not contact the parents first. If there's no violations of the law from the student within those schools, and if they're not a threat to themselves or anybody else in those schools, then the administrators should not be taking steps without the parents' direct involvement. And even if one of those two scenarios presents itself, as soon as the situation is under control, meaning there is no more threat to harm to anybody, or law enforcement is on scene to control the situation in the event that the laws are broken, everything should be paused until direct contact can be made with the child's parent or guardian. I don't know why anyone would disagree with that. When it comes to my kids, I don't need you. All you need to do is remove my child from the situation, pick up a phone, and say, hey, we got a situation. Can you get here? I'll be there within the hour. I thought their primary focus was on education. So why, if their primary focus is on education, or supposed to be, why is it they can't just take and pin the discipline for an hour and wait for the parent to get there? The one parent who's actually as involved as I am, and that's by their own acknowledgement. They have clearly stated, we do not have anybody else doing these things, being as involved as you are. And that's part of the problem. I shouldn't be the only one who has this involved in his children's education. Now, I understand you guys are busy. Lots of you. Lots of you are busy. Lots of you don't have time for this shit. Lots of you don't want to deal with this shit. I don't want to deal with it. But guess what? It's here. Either we deal with it or it's going to get worse. This is also something very important. They'll get your children pulled into the office or the behavior center, whichever one, whichever room they choose, or their interrogation rooms. They'll pull them kids into one of these rooms and interrogate them, question them about an incident that they might have knowledge on, even if they weren't directly involved. And what they do is they question as many people as they possibly can to get as much information as they can, and then they take all that information and they put it into their computer system so that way it automatically generates a profile on each one of these kids. And then they're able to go in, and after a kid gets in trouble, if a kid gets in trouble multiple times, they'll go back into the system, and during their investigation, they don't just ask the people that were involved. They ask anybody who might know about it. And they ask their friends about this child. Not even about the details of the situation, about the child. And then they go into their computer system and they pull the report. And they analyze, based on this information they were able to gather, what information were they able to gather in the past, and then they put them together and compare them so that way they can come to whatever solution they see fit moving forward. That is how they do it. By their own admission, that's how they do it. So there is no clean slate for these students. Let's just get that very clear. If your kid gets into trouble, kid goes home, the kid comes back the next day, it's not a clean slate for these kids. They're still held to the standards of what happened the day before, or the week before, or the month before. Because they can't control and manipulate me, because I refuse to accept these bullshit policies and procedures that they keep inflicting upon our children, all of our children, because even after we agreed they wouldn't do it anymore, they kept doing it. Think about that. As informed as I am, as knowledgeable as I am with my own children, as careful as I am with my decision making around my children, they still agreed and then went behind my back on several occasions, breaking our agreements. And then when I continued to challenge them on it, they basically said, hey, you, we're going to do what we want. I personally think that it is not just the responsibility, but it's the duty of more of the men like me or anybody out there who's doing the right thing, who's following the law. Even if you were in a bad time in your life at some point, doesn't matter where you came from. As long as you're getting your shit together, or you're trying to, and you're trying to create a better life for yourself or your children, most importantly, I think that it's our responsibility to come together as men or women. I personally think it starts with the fathers, and there's very legitimate reasons for that too. I've been saying it for a long time. But for us to come together in a way, and I'm not saying like come together every day and meet each other and talk and do all this shit. I'm just saying have the general idea of men need to come together to get our kids in line, to work with law enforcement. Now, I'm not saying help them with their job. I'm saying you need to establish a relationship, a working relationship. Work with them. Establish a working relationship with law enforcement, especially the officer within that school. Because that's going to have the most beneficial and rapid impact on changing the situation that we have right now. I'm going to say that one more time. I believe it is the father's responsibility and duty to their children and community to come together, to work together with local law enforcement, because that's going to have the most beneficial and rapid impact on the children. I would recommend that every person who has a child, especially a child with behavior problems, emotional problems, self-esteem problems, any problem in that school, I would encourage you to immediately interject yourself in that child's education and find out what's happening inside those walls. And approach the situation with an open mind, thinking that you have no idea and that anything is possible.